Good afternoon and welcome to the Cartoon Voice Panel Part 2. I'm all that's left of Mark Evanier. This is my 12th panel of the convention and my final, thank you. And we are going to attempt now. How many people were here for yesterday's panel? Well, these people are going to top yesterday. These people are going to make you forget. You will go out and throw rocks at the people who are on yesterday's panel after you hear these people. Once more, I have prevailed upon 5 brilliantly talented people who make their living with their voices to come up here and share their skills with you. Let me introduce them to you, and then I will be putting them through their paces. We will be doing the same script that you heard here yesterday, and I guarantee you it will sound nothing like it did yesterday. On the far side is a gentleman who, on the far end is a gentleman who you've heard on The Family Guy. He was in the movie Ant Bully. He was in Invader Zim. We'll have him tell you more about what he's been doing over the years. Mr. Wally Wingert, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody here ever watched a show called South Park? Many roles in that show. You've heard her on. My notes here is down on the Danny Phantom show. You've heard her on American Dad. You've heard her in tons of video games. This is April Stewart, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody ever watched Futurama? About a third of the cast of that show is this gentleman. This gentleman was both Ren and Stimpy. This is Mr. Billy West. This one has had a very fine career in on-camera work. We don't care about that in this room today. We care about her wonderful voice work. She's in the Wild Thornberrys movie. She's been on Dexter's Laboratory. She's got a couple of characters on Mucho Luca. She's been in quite a few of the recent Warner Brothers direct-to-video movies, Scooby-Doo and Batman. This is Kimberly Brooks, ladies and gentlemen. I first became aware of this gentleman's work on a show called Fraggle Rock. Anybody remember Fraggle Rock? Yes. He has since joined in the select legion of people who have followed in the very large footsteps of Mr. Mel Blanc, doing many of his characters. Say hello to Mr. Bob Bergen. All right, I will start with the traditional first question of the voice panel. It's a 2-part question. Number 1. What is the character you have done that most people who meet you make you do? And of course, you have to demonstrate it for us. And the second part of the question is, tell us something you did as a voice performer, and it can be a commercial, it can be a live-action looping job, it can be a cartoon character that most people don't know you did, and when you tell us, we're all going to go, oh, that was him or her. Wally, what's the character that you do most that people make you do for them?
It would be Tallest Red from Invader Zim.
Welcome, brave Erkin soldiers. Wow, isn't that nice? How about a sandwich?
And the one that nobody ever knew was really me was a few years ago in the stores. There was this talking Care Bear, Tenderheart Bear. Yeah, that was my reaction.
Hi, I'm Tenderheart Bear.
If those kids' parents had any idea! You're not buying that! Oh no! I know the guy that did that voice and what he looks like and what he's all about. Oh, wait. That's my cat. It drives my cat nuts. There must be some weird subliminal thing that they put in the voice track of the toy, because it makes all cats crazy when you... Anyway.
Same question.
Definitely Mrs. Cartman. I know a certain kitty that's leaving with Mommy tonight. And, you know, it's the same thing. I did a toy and I'm still not allowed to talk about it. I can't ever tell you what voice I am. And they don't let us because I guess it's that thing, you know. If the kid thinks.
Why don't you tell Wally and let him tell?
keep no secrets.
But the one, and it's more in the voiceover community, is on American Dad. I did the voice of Salima and Bahir, and Delisle, I'm sure a lot of you know Grey Delisle. She and I have been best friends since college, and we sound a lot alike normally. So everyone was coming up to Grey and going, "That was great. You were so great on that show." And she's like, "It was April." That's the only one that I've got.
Ready? Mr. West.
I blew my voice out yesterday. I sound like, what's his name, Alec Guinness? No, Alec Baldwin. It's Bear Charles. He's scared of Bear Charles. The strangest thing, I don't think you even knew this, but when Disney did the movie Dinosaur, there was a character called Ema, who was done by Della Reese. And they did the video games, and Della didn't want to do any of the merchandising, so they tried all the actresses, I don't know what you call them, voice actresses, to come down and to imitate her. And Rick Dempsey, he's in charge of character voices at Disney. He called up my agent, he says, "I know this is a real stupid thing to ask you, but can we do Della Reese?" I said, she looks like the lead in Cats, except the costume, she doesn't have that. She just looks like the lead in Cats. And I said, okay, just for a laugh. And I go down there and they give me some lines. And she's yelling for her friend, I guess, Baleen. She goes, "Baleen, honey, I had enough." Really like that.
What prompted the casting director to think of this?
He wasn't getting what he wanted, but I felt so ashamed because women get less jobs in general than men do, and they're going, "Take another one." But it was so oddball that I wanted to do it.
All right, now tell us the voice people most ask you to do.
Well, let's see, nowadays it's probably Zoidberg from Futurama. "Young lady, bring me a sandwich." "From the dumpster. And leave the maggots on it."
Could we hear a bit of Stimpy?
Fry!
What's that?
Could we hear a bit of Stimpy?
Oh.
Hey, Ren, will you button me? I picked the magic nose goblin. Greenpeace.
As noted yesterday on this panel by Greg Berger, one of the neat things about these is what a big fan everybody on the panel is of everybody else on the panel. Anyway, Kimberly?
Well, I guess Buena Girl from Lucha Lucha would be a pretty popular one.
Flea, the Code of Mass Wrestling isn't just a book. It's about family, honor, tradition, and most importantly, donuts.
And give us a voice job you had that nobody knows was you.
Well, even though it sounds kind of like me, no one ever knew. I did this commercial once that ran, I'm not kidding, for like 8 years. And it's a BF Goodrich commercial, and the road flips upside down, and I'm the computer voice. Select road, validating tires, approved.
Now, before I ask Bob to do his most famous voice here, I brought along a friend of mine. This is a friend of ours named Thelonious. He's a pig, and he wanted to meet his idol. He asked me to bring him here to meet his idol. Would you introduce him to his idol?
Thelonious. I've waited all my at least a couple of days to meet you.
How long have you been Porky?
For money? March of 1990.
Tell people about talking to Mel in the old days?
I wanted to be Porky since I was a kid, since I was 5 years old, and my mom said, you can't be Porky Pig, you're Jewish. Jewish, so it was okay. My dad moved the family to LA when I was 14, and I just figured nobody else wants to do voices for cartoons, so I just figured I'll tell Mel Blanc I've arrived and you're old and I can take over whenever you want. So I looked his number up in the phone book, and my dad went around Los Angeles getting every white pages of every neighborhood, and I found his number listed under his wife's first initial last name, E. Blank. Her name was Estelle. And by the way, I taped the conversation. If you want to hear it, it's on my website. And he said, how'd you get my number? And I told him, and I threw out the conversation. I found out where he was recording that week, and I crashed the session and found out that he was alive and well and doing lots of voices. I couldn't take over for him yet, and I wasn't planning on it at that time, but that's kind of how I, stalking, basically. I
should mention that Bob's website is www.bobbergen.com. I think everybody here has a website with their name in it. You can probably find most of your favorite voice actors by typing www.theirnames and then com. And if that doesn't work, type www.theirnameandvo.com. You'll probably get them. What other Warner Brothers characters have you done over the years?
Oh my goodness.
Tweety the Little Bunny, voice that bad old putty tag. Sylvester Jr. Oh, Father, I'm so ashamed. Look, Pop, it's a giant mouse. Go get him.
Recently, they've been doing a little bit more with Speedy Gonzalez, which they kind of retired a little bit because he wasn't PC. But I guess he's more PC now, so...
Speedy Gonzalez did that en Mexico. ¡Hola, hombre, hija!
All the Mel voices you just did, when Mel did them, they sped them up. They speed them up for you at all?
Porky, they don't. Tweety, definitely they do. Celeste.
Now, is what you just did here what you do for recording a Tweety? Or do you,
Pretty much,
or do
yeah.
You do them slower when they're going to speed them up?
No, I do them in conversational,
I do them like this. Oh, Tweety, look, it's a bad old putty tag.
And when they speed it up, it sounds more Tweety-esque. My Porky's not sped up. I know that it's funny, because sometimes we'll do these characters for, it'll be a licensing thing for like a toy company. They won't know the characters are sped up. So myself, Joe Alasky, who does Daffy, we can do them sped up or slowed down, in real time, depending on what they're expecting. Hey, Billy?
Yes, sir.
When you do Billy does Bugs Bunny.
Sometimes.
We
That
did-
job's mine for the day. It's like, it's like...
Well, we just did a Christmas movie that comes
Yeah,
out.
that's right. I was so excited about that.
Which have you seen? It's really good. Talk
I've
about
seen
yourself.
a little bit of it, and I'm like,
Is that you?
yeah.
Is Bugs sped up?
You know what? For that back in action, I was going to do Bugs, and they paid me to do it and everything. I wound up not doing it, but I'll take their money, And I wound up doing Elmer Fudd and that and everything. But what they were going to do, the director, who was the first director, you know what I mean, wanted us to listen to Mel slowed down.
Right.
Because a lot of the voices were sped up. Even Bugs at one point was up in the stratosphere. But I think they just wanted the standard one, and I was being given all kinds of reference tapes. It's like you're talking and then somebody will lean in and go, he's too Bronx. And you go by, another person will walk in, he's too Jewish. He's too nice, or he's the Tang Bugs. Remember the one in the Tang commercial?
This was the guy who slowed down old Mel Blanc recordings for us to use as references and asked us to imitate Mel Blanc in real time. And so I'm trying to do Porky. Mel Blanc's voice was much deeper than mine. He smoked.
Yeah.
And they used old-fashioned RCA ribbon microphones. I couldn't. I was fired and quit that project on the same day.
Isn't it funny how we get fired and then come back? And get
Yeah,
fired
and life
again?
it does. It comes back.
Yeah, one guy apologized to me. We're sorry we had to let you go on that one. I said, I don't give a fat frog's ass who does anything. I've been journeyman.
Right.
They pay you that day, you come to work, and you go home. But Bugs was like the original tapes I listened to was,
What's your dog?
You know, his real voice. And then they'd speed him up.
And there's a final void. Mwah, goodbye.
Bob, you haven't got your obscure job.
Okay, this is good. The TV version of the movie Basketball Diaries, I'm the voice, well, whenever they take out the dirty words, they have to revoice it for TV. So I'm the voice of Leonardo DiCaprio, but only when he's stoned. They hired another actor to revoice him when he was sober. And they had him in to audition for it, and he didn't get it because his voice had changed too much.
All right. I'm going to ask you a couple more voices here. April, I think people would like to hear a couple other members of the South Park cast. Could you go through a few of your other ones?
Yes, I need a glass of water for this one.
God, you're such a jerk.
I can't do Wendy. They pitch me up for Wendy, so people always want to hear Wendy, and then I try and do it, and they look at me like. So I've learned just not to do it. What? Before they speed it up, I just do.
There's a request to hear it. Give this woman some helium and have her do it.
I know. Hi, Stan. How you doing? And then they speed it up. See, you're all looking at me like that. The mayor, nobody panic. Everybody just settle down. So yeah, those are a few of them.
April, are those shows all pre-recorded, or do you sometimes work the picture on those things?
It's really interesting. This show is done very differently than most others because everything is in-house. Like most animated shows, doesn't it take like 6 to 7, 8 months to do one episode?
South Park, it takes a week.
1 week. So I go in on usually like a Friday or a Saturday, and they hand me my script, and I go in, and Trey has already read the entire script and the animators have already started animating the mouths to what he has done. So then I put on headphones, and I basically listen to him in one ear and copy him. And then I go in Tuesday night at 11 o'clock at night, and everyone works all night long on Tuesday, and I do any changes, anything that needs to be redone. I'm usually there till about 1 in the morning, and then I leave, and everyone gives me a dirty look because they have to stay there all night long. And then the show gets uploaded to New York for a Wednesday night showing, and sometimes it's last minute. So it's by the seat of their pants, boy. So yeah.
Wally, just give us a few more of your characters you've done.
Let's see. Well, my first job on Family Guy was Bert from Sesame Street Blue, if you remember that.
Well, Ernie, I hate it when you eat cookies in the damn bed!
And then I got to do the Grinch.
You think you have won, you think all is well, but kiss my great ass, I shall see you in hell!
And Richie Cunningham.
Mom, Dad, I really like Potsy. No, I mean, I really like Potsy.
Then there's the two strong men that drive through Quahog. I'm Barnaby. And back in the old days, Seth and I actually used to do those together back when it was being directed by David Zuckerman. But now that Seth's directing, it's kind of we just do our thing. But
it's another great day to work out that triangular weight.
And
Dr. Catlin? Well, Brian, I think you might be too inwardly focused. Try doing some volunteer work.
And Mr. Rogers, well, hello, neighbor. How are you?
And the list goes on in Family Guy. I've been very blessed. And thank you for bringing the show back. Thank you. We knew the show was brilliant all the time in the first, second season, and we're like walking around the office with our heads on low going, why is nobody getting the show? And then, of course, the DVDs were released, and then went on Cartoon Network, and then it was the show that was really responsible for coining the phrase uncanceled. So, and now we're going to work for another 10 years because everybody in town is afraid to cancel it. They don't want to be the next studio executive to cancel Family Guy again and suffer the the slings and arrows that happened to the first person. So anyway, but walking around the office now, they have American Dad's very successful. Family Guy's very successful now, and everybody's just happy as a clam and quahog. And thank you guys again. So it's all about you guys.
Billy, just give us a couple more of your favorite characters to do. This is the easy part of my job.
I'm going to try to really harken back to one of the earliest ones I did, which was Nicktoons. They did Ren and Stimpy, and then they did Rugrats, and then they did a cartoon called Doug.
And he was a painfully average 11-and-a-half-year-old. And this is my dog, Pork Chop. Oh, wait a minute, here comes that bully Roger Klotz. Yeah, give me the microphone, you loser. If you don't like me, write your congressman.
Do George Burns.
Oh, boy.
But be clean.
I only know dirty.
I know you do.
I see it. I did a George Dice Burns routine. It was very funny, but it's not appropriate for here, so I'll just go. Do it. You don't even want to know. Okay, I'll clean it up.
You know, I wanted to try that acupuncture. But I'm gonna wait till the middle of an AIDS epidemic to let some filthy technician stick needles in me.
That was the clean one.
Boy, that's pulled out. I don't know any clean stuff. Let's see, what else? Oh, the computerized stuff. Some of the stuff on Futurama was like that. There was this emissary, I think it was based on an episode of Star Trek where there was this being that was so pure and beautiful and benevolent that you couldn't look at it. And you'd open up the hatch and there'd be this whole pile of lights that would blind you and make you crazy if you looked at it. So this ball of light creature was going around bar hopping looking for a female companion. And there's like this little ball of sparkling little lights that sits up next to Leo and he goes, "Hi, how you doing?" He goes, "I'm very lonely. I hope someday my phone will ring." And the other one's like, "Good news, everyone. Bad news. This is Zach Brannigan, master of time, space, and everything else in between. Oh yeah, and winner of this year's Modesty Award.
Ms. Brooks, would you favor us with a few? What did Batwoman? I didn't see. What did Batwoman sound like in the?
Well, she played Batman's love interest, Kathy Duquesne, and but he didn't know she was really Batwoman. She was a bad Batwoman. She wasn't a good Batwoman. She kind of sounded like me, actually. Well, Batman, am I that forgettable? I thought I'd stop by so we could paint the town red. She sounded a little sexy version.
There are people here who paid $19.95 a minute. Tell us some of your other favorite jobs.
I was Tally in the Wild Thornberrys movie, a little cheetah cub that got kidnapped.
Cool, you want to race? I'm really fast now.
Something like that. And Mimi on Dexter's Lab. She sounded like,
D, yo bro is weird.
Also on Mucha Lucha, I do Snow Pea. I don't know how many people watch that show. I love Mucha Lucha. And Snow Pea's a little self-obsessed, because Snow Pea can only say Snow Pea for everything. So Snow Pea was something like, Snoopy! Snoopy! Snoopy!
Do they make you do this over and over again, or they just record it once and Mel Blanc, when he did Captain Caveman, when Captain Caveman would yell Captain Caveman, he yelled it once, and they just edited it in every episode.
You know what? And this is WB. No, they didn't get that memo because they felt that there was different ways of saying Snow Pea depending on the situation. So if Snow Pea was scared, it would be like Snoopy, and if Snow Pea was happy, Snoopy. So.
The greatest voice gig of all time, a man named Ted Cassidy, you may remember he played Lurch of the Addams Family. He played Godzilla. When he did the Godzilla cartoon show, he did all the roars for Godzilla. And then he passed away, and the show was renewed for another season. So they ran around, they auditioned people to do sound-alike roars, and they auditioned for like 3 weeks before somebody figured out, we've got 3 hours of Ted Cassidy roaring. So they just edited him. He did the first posthumous voice job in the business.
Executives.
That's right. And think of the people who auditioned and got beaten out by a dead guy.
But they probably paid scale, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And no reason.
That's right. And he didn't get the health benefits.
That's right. No, wouldn't need it.
Bob, who else would we hear from?
I'm doing a show right now called The Emperor's New School, where I play. Thank you. I play Bucky, the squirrel, and Bucky basically just jibber jabbers, and Patrick Warburton plays Kronk, and he's the little sidekick. So Kronk will say squeak, squeak, and squeak, squeak, and Bucky will say.
A few years ago, some of you remember a voice panel we did here where I got Bob to do. He had done Luke Skywalker for the Star Wars radio show, and we had Mark Hamill on the same panel, and Bob sounded more like him than Mark did. Tell us about doing that.
It was an audition I turned down because I don't do Mark Hamill's voice, and my agent said, "Well, you have nothing to lose, just go ahead and do it." So I auditioned, and I know nothing about Star Wars people. I don't. Every time I do a Star Wars game, okay, Uncle who, and is it Annie M and Uncle Henry? No, it's and I've done tons of games. There's 2 versions of Luke. There's pre-Jedi, where he's kind of a whiny guy. You know, he's a little whiny, wimpy guy. And then he gets this Force thing, and he becomes Jedi Luke. I once got, when I first started doing these games, I got memos from George Lucas that he could tell by the way I said, "May the Force be with you," that I didn't believe in the Force. And I couldn't argue with those memos. But I guess George kind of does. So they said, really practice that line. May the Force be with you. May the Force be with you. May the Force be with you.
I don't think that sounds like me at all.
Anybody else?
I'm doing Santa Claus 3 right now, playing Comet the Reindeer, who was in Santa Claus 2. And again, these jibber jabbers. Thank you. Interesting story about Bucky. Patrick Warburton and I only met about 6 months ago for the first time. We did the first film, the sequel, and the first season of the series, and we'd never met each other. And he said, I thought Bucky was a sound effect. And I said, don't you watch the credits, dude? And he's like, I don't have to, I get the checks.
All right, I want to move on to the next stage of our extravaganza. Is my friend Earl Kress in the audience?
Earl!
Is Earl here?
Applaud, Earl.
White coats.
Not here. Okay, we're going to do a script for you. This is a script which we did yesterday. In the past years, when I've had these people annihilate a Superman radio show script. We've switched now. All right, I want to move on to the next stage of our extravaganza. Is my friend Earl Kress in the audience?
Earl!
Is Earl here?
Applaud, Earl.
White coats.
Not here. Okay, we're going to do a script for you. This is a script which we did yesterday. In the past years, when I've had these people annihilate a Superman radio show script. We've switched now, we're going to destroy a Flash Gordon radio show script. And I want to emphasize that these actors have never seen or heard this script before. This is what's called, this is not just a cold reading, this is an ice cold reading.
It's frozen.
This is, anyway, we're going to assign roles, we're going to have them read everything here. Take one, pass it down. This is like the SAT, all right? Now, here's how we're going to assign these roles to people here. Mr. Bergen, you're going to be Flash Gordon.
Flash?
Okay.
He's upstairs if you want his autograph, by the way, an autograph.
He is.
And Dale Arden.
Thank God he's
Okay.
okay.
Mr. Wingert, you are going to be announcer number 2, who has an awful lot of dialogue, so you're going to have to talk very fast for it.
Hemos vivido limited time with the Federal We've been enforced the mothership from the machine. That's enough for you.
Okay, April, you're going to be Dale, who is like a mid-20s good girl heroine with a lot of idealism in her voice. Kimberly, you're going to be Aura, who is the sluttier woman in this.
Again with the typecasting.
And guess what inspired me for that?
Batwoman.
Billy, you were going to be everybody else.
I thought you were going to just have me do some evil voices.
All right. So that means you will be announcer number 1. You will be Dr. Zarkov.
I forget what he sounds like.
You will be Dr. Zarkov has a slight German accent. We've just decided. You will be slave number 1, who talks to Dr. Zarkov for a while, so you will probably get a hernia. But he talks to Ming. You're also Ming the Merciless.
Moment.
One of the stupidest things I ever said in my life, and there's no small list of candidates for this. I was directing a Garfield show, and when you have an actor who has to talk to himself, he's playing 2 different roles. He has to talk. You try not to do that. You try to give him to 2 different actors. But the way it broke down, we had to have this one actor talk to himself. So I turned to Paul Winchell, and I said, "Paul, I've got you talking to yourself here for a while. You think you can handle it?" And he said, "Who's working your head? What do you think I did for a living for 35 years?" So you're being the Merciless. Everyone on the panel is a monkey man. We get to the monkey man. Billy, you're also Zune.
Who's that?
God knows. Zune is an alien creature that Flash encounters. Everyone is a slave. When we come to the slaves, for the group shot of the slaves, and everyone is, when it comes to crowd, everyone is crowd.
Oh, man.
Yes. Anyway, now, to further complicate your lives, we've added a new twist to doing this. You all know the improv game Change. After you read a line, if I say change, read the exact same line again in a different voice. Read the same line again in a different voice. Then when that character speaks again, go back to the first voice you had.
We getting paid for this?
Yeah.
Explain that again.
Okay. When I say, you read a line, I say the word change. When I say that, and when that character speaks again, if that character speaks again, you go back to the original voice.
Gotcha.
All right? I'm being paid good money by Joel Lasky to kill you all off today.
And I think he would, too.
That's right. All right, now let me remind you that these people have not been able to read this script ahead. They do not know what they're about to read here, so any stumble. Like yesterday, it was amazing how few stumbles there were. Not to put any pressure on you.
Hey, nice to know.
All right?
No pressure or anything.
Mr. West, you have the first line.
Okay. Is there a penalty for stumbling over words?
No.
Presenting for the first time on radio, the amazing interplanetary adventures of Flash Gordon and Dale Arden.
Racing high above the Earth, comfortably seated in a giant airliner, Flash Gordon, internationally famous athlete, looks admiringly across the aisle at Dale Arden. companion of his air voyage. Suddenly, there's a violent jar.
I hope they didn't mean of mayonnaise.
The plane lurches into a spinning nosedive. Flash Gordon's trained muscles carry him across the aisle to the frightened girl, to gather her in his arms and then leap free of the falling plane, and pulling the ripcord of his parachute, glides to Earth.
Don't be frightened, Dale. We're landing now. Careful, easy. Was it good for you two, Dale?
You were wrong about die casting.
Are you all right, Dale?
Yes.
Good.
Oh, look, Flash. There's a large steel door. It's closing.
Why, that's the laboratory of the great scientist, Dr. Hans Zarkov. He's coming this way. I hope you'll pardon us for breaking in on you so unceremoniously, Doctor, but you see, we had to bail out.
I see you for what you are. Spies! Come steal my secrets. But I have the answer for that. Come with me.
Put that gun away, Dr. Zarkov. This man is mad, Dale. We'll have to humor him. But not the way we did on the parachute. All right, Professor, all right. We'll come with you.
Get down this ladder, into this tower. Down, I tell you! All right, all right! Just besiegen das Soundmachine auf der Schweinkopf.
All right, all right, all right, all right.
There now. We are in my rocket ship. Rocket ship, I said. And in 10 seconds, we will be on our way to the new planet. We will all die. Die for science!
Change.
Uh-oh. We're in my rocket ship. And in 10 seconds, we're going to be on our way to a new planet, I guess. We will all die. We will die for science. Except I don't really believe in scientists. I think that there's a Republican war on science. But I found a way to live no matter what happens in this planet. I learned how to eat money.
Ship's breaking away from Earth with the speed of light, right into the path of the new planet.
Change.
Oh, Flash, the doctor's mad. This rocket ship is breaking away from the Earth with the speed of light, right into the path of the new planet.
Hold tight, Dale. We'll escape somewhere.
To the new planet. We three will save the Earth.
Dr. Zarkov, there's still time to swing your rocket ship out of the path of the new planet.
Change.
Dr. Zarkov, there is still time to swing your rocket ship out of the path of the new planet.
Sorry.
The planet.
All right.
Uranus. Do I not go back? Oh, thank you. What will you gain for science if we're all killed in the crash?
I know who you are, Flash Gordon. The world's greatest athlete.
Athlete?
I know you are, Flash Gordon, the world's greatest athlete. But your trained strength will not save you. Only my mind, the mind of Zarkov, the scientist can save you. You save any human soul upon the earth, can you do it?
The turbo drive, he's reaching for the controls.
Stand aside, Dr. Zarkov.
Feel it!
Oh, I do.
The gravitation pull of the
Change.
Okay, wait.
Freaking feel it. The gravitational pull of the new planet. This is the last Sunday dinner I ever have on this rocket ship. We crash in 5 seconds, Meadow.
Crash sound effect.
Boom.
Echo. 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 The rocket ship. Take 2. The rocket ship hits the planet. Dr. Zarkov and Dale are thrown from the rocket ship unconscious. Flash is thrown clear of the wreckage and lands on his feet uninjured. He rushes to the side of the unconscious girl, picks her up, and starts to carry her toward the distant towers of a city on this weird new planet. Suddenly, strange soldiers armed with ray guns appear.
Ray guns? Yeah. Sorry, you didn't say change. I heard change in my head.
And capturing Dale and Flash forced them to come with them to the throne room of Ming the Merciless, Emperor of Mungo, and Supreme Ruler of the Universe.
Oh, thou indulgent Ming. Most merciless Majesty of Mongo, Supreme Ruler of all the peoples of the New Union. My slaves salute thee. Good that Ming shall want the earth people. Thy slaves obey, O Ming the Merciless. Throw him to the red monkey man in the arena.
Wait, skip the line.
Oh, did I? Sorry.
Get your hands off me, you skip a line! I'm no slave. I'll meet your emperor as a free man and an equal.
Throw him to the red monkey man in the arena.
What? There is no freedom, Earthman. Now you go into the arena and meet the red monkey man of Mongol.
No!
Emperor Ming, I will show you that I am a free man from Earth. That I, a free man from Earth, are more than a match for your brainless red monkey men.
Flash reaches
Or Wally.
Thank you. Flash reaches the bottom step leading to the arena. He leaps and swings at the nearest red monkey man, then grasping the fallen man beast under the armpit, Flash whirls him around in a flail, knocking the others in all directions. In the midst of the confusion, Princess Aura, the beautiful young daughter of Emperor Ming, calls to Flash.
Quick, brave Earthman. This way. Here to my balcony.
Flash leaps to the royal balcony and joins the gorgeously jeweled princess, who wouldn't, who commands the slaves to keep back while she takes Flash through a secret door and into a passage leading to a private elevator where she reveals she's a man.
Sorry. Again, it just happens in here.
So who are you? Beautiful maiden.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm the Princess Aura.
Ooh.
Only daughter of Ming the Merciless.
Change.
Cool, I am the Princess Aura, only daughter of Ming the Merciless.
Princess, I owe you my life.
You are a brave and handsome and strong man. You must not end so young. I've never seen anyone like you, Earthman.
Well, where I come from, Princess, there are many stronger men and I hate this line. There are many stronger men and better looking, okay?
Change.
There are many stronger, well, they're lots better than me.
Oh, just get in the rocket car.
But Princess, I hardly know you.
Hurry!
Okay. But Princess Aura, how am I to rescue the Earth girl, Dale Arden?
That is why you are in my private rocket car, Earthman. man. It's private.
What do you mean?
Dale Arden can never be rescued by you. And you, Earthman?
Yeah?
You shall love me or die.
Change.
Oh my god. Dale Arden can, like, totally never be rescued by you. And you, Earthman, you shall, like, totally love me or you're, like, so gonna die.
Meanwhile, back in the palace, Emperor Ming is talking with Dale Arden.
Your companion, Flash Gordon, has escaped, but not for long. My men will soon capture him.
What are you gonna do with me, Emperor Ming?
You are pleasing to me. When you will become my wife.
No!
Change.
Who?
You.
You are pleasing to me. One, you will become part of my wife. You will become my wife.
Never! I don't love you.
We men of Mongo have no human traits, no love, no mercy, no kindness. Whatever you love me, whether you love me or not makes no difference. You shall become my wife as soon as the ceremony can be arranged. Your Majesty, look into the spacograph. Our city is being bombarded by the space gyros of the Lion Men. The Lion Men ordered the entire space fleet to the attack.
In the terrific battle which takes place between Emperor Ming's space fleet and the gyros of the Lion Men, put 'em up. The attacking gyros are driven up. The rocket ship in which Flash Gordon had been held captive is destroyed and Flash is thrown to the ground unconscious. Hasn't this happened before in this thing? He's always landing on the ground. I digress. He opens his eyes to find himself staring into the great bearded face of Zune, Prince of the Lion Men.
Change.
There's like this big battle and stuff. There's a big lion dude, and he like comes down and wants to kick some butt. And he sees this guy unconscious, and he's like, "Hey, dude, are you like all right and stuff?" And then he sees this lion dude, and he gets up and something cool happens.
Who art thou? Speak. Answer me before I cleave thy body into like pieces. Art thou a new kind of soldier of Ming the Merciless?
I am the sworn enemy of that. You know that guy that's really bad? I'm the sworn enemy of that fiend, Emperor Ming of Mongo. He has captured a girl who is from the earth, like myself. I live only to rescue her.
An Earthman, thou sayest?
Yes, sir.
Wait a minute. What page are we on?
We're on page 5. We will return to you after this brief commercial announcement.
Wait a minute.
Did you find it?
Soon, okay.
And now back to Flash Gordon.
And an enemy of like Ming the Merciless?
That's right. Tell me, are you friend or enemy?
I am Zune, Prince of Lion Men, hereditary enemies of the men of Manga. If thou would accept me as thy friend, Earthman, I will gladly join thee against Ming the Merciless.
Change.
I am Zune! I'm a Prince of the Lion Men. Yeah, like I believe that. We are hereditary enemies of the men of Mongo! If thou would accept me as thy friend, I'll tell you a dirty joke. Hey, Did you hear about the guy that couldn't come? We had to go bring him. I will gladly join thee against being the merciless. I don't believe in doing this.
Here's my hand on it. Prince Zoon.
Good. And what is thy name, Earthman?
I'm called Flash Gordon upon the earth, Your Highness.
Call me Zoon, friendo. And I will call thee Flash.
Friend Zoon, do you know how we gain admittance to the palace that we may rescue Dale Arden?
Come.
I still thought you said that earlier.
I will allow it, and it will show thee a secret way into the palace.
The secret passage is known as the Tunnel of Terror because of the deadly beasts which lie within its gloomy walls. Fighting each step of the way, Flash and his new friend Prince Zoon finally find themselves within the palace.
Listen,
Change.
Oh, sorry.
Wally.
The sacred passage is known as the Tunnel of Terror. Because of all those deadly beasts that dwell within. Very gloomy walls, don't you know? Fighting each step of the way, because they're both bitches. Flash and his new friend, the muscly Prince Zoon, finally find themselves within the palace.
Listen, Zoon. Amongst that applause, what is that?
By the great god Pao, it is the royal wedding procession. Ming, like the Merciless, is taking another ride.
Long live Ming the Merciless! We're all slaves, damn it, we delight! Zoon, save yourself! I'm going to rescue the Earth friend. Hi, Zoon. I'm going to go rescue the Earth friend, Dale Arden. She's being forced into a marriage with Ming the Merciless.
Prince Zoon of the Lion Men does not save himself at the expense of his friends. If thou must die, I will die fighting with thee.
Dale! This way, Dale! This way, Dale!
Page now.
Page 6.
This way.
Somebody stole my page. Oh, I got it.
Down this passage, Earthling, and as fast as thou canst run. Quick, you.
Swarming up the altar steps. Help me topple the giant idol statue over on them. Now. 1, 2, 3!
With a grinding crash,
Crash.
the giant idol topples over on the onrushing soldiers of Ming the Merciless, killing those in front and throwing into confusion the whole company. Flash Gordon and Prince Zoon with Dale between them dash into the secret passage beneath the idol. The way becomes steeper. They slip and fall down, 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 down. 100 feet or more into a whirling underground river, they're swept along a raging current and over falls into a lake. With the powerful strokes of a champion swimmer, Flash sets out for the shore, towing Dale by the hair. It's in here. By the hair. Thank you. They reach the shore, and as Flash reaches down to drag Dale to safety...
Sorry, Dale.
She disappears beneath the calm surface of the lake, clutched in by two powerful green scaly arms. With no thought of his own safety, Flash Gordon dives to Dale's rescue and finds an adventure stranger than any which has gone before.
Don't fail to listen again next week to the continuation of the amazing interplanetary adventures of Flash Gordon. This is your big dumb announcer speaking.
Taking questions from the audience, but one of the first questions people always ask, I'm going to ask the panel here now, is, hey, I can do funny voices. What should I do now? One of the tips, I'm gonna get Bob here to plug something he does occasionally. Tell him about your...
Oh, I teach an animation voiceover workshop. I've got a handful of students here in the first, second, third. Oh, hi guys, how are you? That's so cool. Yeah, if you're interested in my website, you can pop me an email. If you're interested in doing voices for cartoons, and everybody says what a great voice you have, everybody's got a great voice. I mean, everybody in this room right now, I can tell you, has a great voice. There are good actors and bad actors. You want to make sure you're a good, solid actor before taking a voiceover class because you'll be spinning your wheels. So my advice is study acting, study improv, and study voiceover. And thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay, let's say no more people in the line. We're not going to get to everybody as it is. Advice to wannabe voice actors. What advice have you got for people who want to do what you do?
Well, believe in yourself, because that's how you sell it. If you believe it, they'll believe it. Study, listen to other actors, and you just have to invest time in it, and then the payoff is big.
Wow. Advice for young voice actors. Keep trying. Don't let anybody, I never listened to anything anybody told me. Said, well, you're really not suited because your voice is so plain vanilla, and I have sort of, every now and then. And I laugh, today, but I think about it, and it's like, now there's so much media out there. There's going to be probably like 1,500 channels next week. And they're always looking for voice people. Unfortunately, the celebrities might beat us to it, but, yeah, I know. $20 million, Cameron Diaz. But there's nothing but...
But we're not bitter, are we, Billy?
What's that?
We're not bitter.
Yeah.
No.
I don't care what I appear like. I do voices for a living, I could be sitting there naked with a tinfoil hat on for all day. No, and there is unlimited internet with creative people that are creating characters every day. So you want to be an artisan. You want to change up. You want to physically escape the sound of your own voice. Unlike Will Smith, who's Clam, I'm Will Smith, I'm Clam, I'm Will Smith, I'm a palm tree, I'm Will Smith, I'm a taxi cab, I'm Will Smith.
I have to agree with the acting thing. Someone once said that when people say, people have told me I have a great voice and I should do voiceover, that's kind of like saying, I have a pencil, maybe I should be a writer. It's acting. It's really studying the acting part of it. And then the most important thing, I think, is don't listen to any negativity in this business. If you get in a room with people that are going, there are so many people, you can't get a job, then walk out of the room and believe in yourself. Like Kimberly said, if you just set your mind and you say, I'm going to do this, and it's as simple as that, and you have to believe it, I think your chances are better. Don't buy into the negativity. It's a small community, but I think there's enough work to go around. So, yeah, that's what I gotta say.
Wally, are you doing workshops these days?
No, but Bob's workshop is terrific. That's definitely one of the best in town. It strikes me funny when I watch actors work in situations of animation and group stuff, how we have trained ourselves to talk all of our lives, but we haven't really trained ourselves to listen that well. Half of voiceover is, see, he just had an aha moment.
So he actually didn't hear you.
Either that or he had something bad to eat for lunch. So everybody better move back. It's really half about using your voice and half about listening. You have to listen to direction and what the direction is saying and what the director is asking you to do and being able to produce those results for them. Otherwise, you're going to be there basically all day. So yes, train your voice, teach yourself how to talk right in all these funny different voices, but also train yourself how to listen and be able to deliver to the director what they're asking for. So it's a 50-50 kind of things.
Yeah.
Before we get to questions, I want to mention 5 names which should be said here during. One of them was already mentioned, Mel Blanc. The man who invented the kind of voice acting that was done here. He wasn't the first voice actor, but everybody who came after him was going into the field that he developed. Another great voice actor who should be mentioned is a man named Dawes Butler, who was a lot of great people studied with him, and learned from him. He was a wonderful actor, he was a wonderful teacher, he was a wonderful human being, and I happen to be one of those people who believes that the quality of a Hanna-Barbera cartoon is proportionate to how much Dawes Butler is in it. And the other person who worked with him, a man named Don Messick, who has amazing talents. He didn't do as many star roles as Dawes did, but he worked constantly through his career because he was phenomenal. Another person who fortunately is still with us, June Foray. I am currently assisting June with her autobiography, and next year we're going to have her down here and she'll be signing them, and you will want to get in the line very early because you'll want a copy of June's work. Last person I want to mention is a friend of mine who we lost about 3 weeks ago who died, a man named Lenny Weinrib, who was the voice of H.R. Puppets in many characters of Hanna-Barbera. And if you were here yesterday, you heard the nice story that Michael Bell, I forget who was, told about how Lenny got them one of his first jobs because he was a very generous man. The voiceover community is enormously generous. I can't tell you the number of times I've tried to hire someone for a cartoon job and they say, hey, you know, I could do that, but I got a friend who needs to make his SAG health insurance. Why don't you see if you can use him for it instead? People give away jobs all the time. There's about 15 people in this business now who probably owe their careers to Frank Welker's leftovers. Anyway, Frank recommends people all the time for things. Yeah, anyway. What? I love Frank. Yes, anyway. All right, let's take the first question. And the rule, by the way, is please, no auditioning. Give us your question, please.
First off, you all have an amazing talent. Thank you for doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Honorable Billy West, what can you tell us about the up-and-coming Futurama?
Can I tell you about it?
Yeah.
Let's see, we're going to start recording next week, because I have a table read on Thursday. And Matt Groening dropped by my booth yesterday and he says, what do you see with those scripts? You know, and I was like all excited. We're also going to be airing on Comedy Central. I look for early 2008 because we're also recording a movie, I believe, and we'll find something to do till 2008. We do every year, right? And that's what's going on in the pipeline for that. Same writers, same voices.
Next person, please, line.
Hi. First, I'd like to say you guys have the coolest job in the world. I commend you. You guys are great. You answered my other question, but I was actually going to ask Mr. Billy West, if it wasn't too much to ask for, can you do the line for me from Futurama?
Oh, okay. Ask me, say something like to me, hey Fry, I heard beer makes you stupid.
Hey Fry, I hear beer makes you stupid.
No, it doesn't.
Hi, how's it going? I was wondering, what popular video games have you been in that people might not know about, or what has been your most successful work in the industry?
Video games. Name some video games you people were in.
Maximo. I was the voice of Maximo. There's a new one coming out, Desperate Housewives.
Oh my God.
You gotta get this, folks. This is gonna be great. I'm the player's husband. So the player plays a desperate housewife, and there's all kinds of scenarios. It's a little bit like Sims, from what I'm understanding. And it's just my own voice. I'm like, hey, honey, I'm home. But the other day it was weird, right, Andrea? We were recording the final of the 3 sessions, and it was filled with 5 guys and Andrea in this room. And then came the sexies. Oh, baby, I sure want to make mad, passionate love to you. And I stopped and I said, thank God Andrea's here, because this would just be weird, a bunch of sex guys. Somebody comes in with a no, it's like, oh, how about those Dodgers? Yeah. Good. Anyway, why don't you put on something lacy for me? Check that out. Video games have, really saved a lot of us. When cartoons are kind of, there's those video games that are amazing, right?
All the video games I'm in, I'm not allowed to talk about my characters because they haven't been released yet. The Marvel Ultimate Alliance, I'm a character in that. But I can't tell you who. They haven't been released yet. And 2 of the Final Fantasies, the Dirge of Cerberus. I can't tell you who I am in that because that hasn't been released. And another Final Fantasy, which I don't remember. There's 12 and there's 7. Those are the 2. And Knights of the Old Republic. I did 24 voices in that.
Video game, I did, I was Pac-Man. No, No, I did a thing called Gabriel Knight. I think that was the first one I ever did. I don't remember who I did though. I really have done a lot of them, and the people are very creative. So I love doing more video games. I'll just I'll do any kind of video game because I love it.
I voiced Niobe in The Matrix, which was pretty much just screaming and dying. I've done a bunch of Barbie doll stuff.
Cool, Barbie, you want to come over and play?
Let's see, it's like you with Star Wars. I don't know a Jedi Knight but I've done a bunch of Star Wars stuff. Yeah, the games are great. They're just very popular, I take it. And EverQuest, I guess I did a bunch of orc voices. I was an orc.
And you don't work together when you do games. You usually work solo.
Record by yourself.
Yeah, so you might be responding to or working off of a character and they're not there. So you need a really good director who can coax you through the scene.
Oh yeah, and especially with something like EverQuest where a lot of it there was actually no dialogue and you kind of had to make up voices and and dialogue pretty much. So that was very challenging actually. So that's pretty much me.
Oh, Star Wars. I honestly don't remember. I mean, if you go to my website, my resume is there. When you do games and stuff, we do so many. I'll drive home going, oh, I forgot about this one. And
yeah.
There's a lot. Thank you guys for playing them. Can you ask for a little less screaming?
Yeah, less dying.
Yeah.
I understand that.
They'll have a line that'll say, we need the 2,000-foot fall scream. And then the next one is the 1,500-foot fall scream. I'm like, can you shave off 500 feet from the last take? No, you have to continue screaming. Yeah, straight through.
Let's take another question, and let me apologize. The last 5 or 6 people in line, we're not going to get to you. We got a time limit here. Yes, please.
This is a little bit more toward Billy, but anybody else is free to answer to it as well. Billy, you get so many parts. You just get hired. Even in Futurama alone, you just play so many people. And it's like that with everything else you get hired in. What do you do when you're in that situation where you just like hit the wall for a new voice, or you just don't know where you're going to go with a character?
Sometimes stuff you come up with isn't all that great, but it helps being in a hit show, and all of a sudden everybody's just nuts over anything you do. And I'm like all the rest of us when we first came to Hollywood. I don't know if there's a native Angeline right there. Yeah. Well, when I first came there, I said, oh, I guess the idea is you want to be flavor of the month 12 months a year. But it's impossible. I feel very grateful that I have anything to do with my life. Otherwise, I'd be wearing a paper hat and shredding lettuce because I didn't go to college. So I feel nothing but fortunate. Whatever's happening. Believe me, I'm so grateful about it.
Next question, please. Thank you.
I just want to say, I came here for Billy West, and then I found out I'm a huge fan of everybody else that was sitting here.
Thank you.
Frankly, I want to say that the whole panel is great. I basically think you should take it on the road to Iraq and see the troops. But my question really is, obviously you had to do a lot of practicing before you get to this point and stuff like that. Can you each of you give us an example of where you might have used a voice in real life out there at the DMV or at a wedding or something like that?
I have a story. I have a story. After 9/11, I went out with some friends for dinner, and I went to Krispy Kreme late at night, and there were 4 of us in the car, and I ordered a dozen donuts like Porky Pig. And when I got to the window, I was given 2 dozen donuts. And I said, I don't think you understood me. And she said, actually, that was the first time we've laughed in days, so thank you very much, they're on the house. So.
Could you give us a sample of that?
What's that?
Bob, could you give us a sample of that?
Oh,
can I have a doesn't it 12 of the regular?
How about the rest of the panel?
I'm a follower of the Church of Andy Kaufman.
Yes, he is.
So I'm always going into weird characters. Sometimes Andy, sometimes other people. Oh, I'm going to Tony Clifton. How you doing? I'm going to say anything. I'm going to come and say anything. Small you came here to say me, right? But sometimes just the other day we were on the elevator and I was doing this chum guy. And it's like, oh, the hat's working today. It's working. So we're on the elevator in the hill and we're pushing buttons. Oh, let's go down here. Oh, hello, good morning. Good night. So occasionally just you do it. It's fun to watch people do it. Disneyland.
Where is the parade? Parade? Electrical parade? Sir, it's right on Main Street. The parade on the Main Street?
It's hilarious. And then they turn around and try it. You gotta try it. It's what Andy Kaufman called the theater of life.
Next question, please. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for being here today. I would like to know what classes you would recommend for someone who's interested in well, besides his class. Like,
besides his
what
class.
voice and acting classes?
I've got one for you. There's a place called Voice Tracks, and there's a gentleman there named Art Butler who he is he's almost solely responsible for me getting. He's right there.
Stand up, Art.
This is Art Butler, ladies and gentlemen.
He's got his cards. He's an amazing director, and I would say he's about, I'll give you 50% responsible for me getting the South Park gig, because he gave me some private lessons, and yeah.
I bet you did, baby. Thanks you.
Anyway, Voice Tracks West in Studio City. He was an amazing teacher.
Ginny McSwain, Andrea Romano, Susan Blue. Cynthia Sanchez, Charlie Adams, Chris Zimmerman. There's some wonderful teachers. Get the voiceover resource guide, or called the VORG. It's the Bible to the voiceover industry. Voiceoverresourceguide.com. You'll see every teacher, every demo producer in Los Angeles for voiceover.
One of the things that helps a lot, you can hear most people's voiceover demos online if you know where to look. Go to some of the voiceover agency sites. Their sites, most of them have their demos on them.
Voice
It's
Bank.
very
Voice
helpful.
Bank.
Voice Bank, yes, very helpful. If you want to hear a fabulous demo, go to neilross.com. Neil has one of the most amazing, and CoreyBurton.com also. Corey has. Yeah, Corey! So that will tell you what you're up against if you get into the business. Anyway, yes, next question, please.
Hi, I'd like to recommend Bob's class. First of all,
Thank you, Robert. I owe you 10.
Okay, thanks. I just had a question professionally. If you have an audition or a performance one day and you wake up and your voice sounds like this, what do you do?
I have a great story about
Oh,
that.
good.
Because like I said, South Park is done in 1 week,
Right.
so you can't lose your voice. But when we came back for season 10, I had a sinus infection and no voice whatsoever. And the look on Matt and Trey's face was just shocking. It was just like, is this going to be okay in a day? So I had to go to the doctor, and you go to a special voice doctor, and you get shots everywhere. They give you shots of cortisone, and they give you pills and things to spray. We walk into a doctor and say, I'm a voice.
April, can I just tell you the
Yeah,
same thing?
yeah.
I did I think it was season 3 of Futurama, I was working with one vocal cord. The other one, you remember those rotten flus that took like 45 days to get over?
That was
with?
it.
This thing, my other vocal cord crawled up into itself and was like this. You know, they're supposed to be like this, or actually like this, or whatever, but one of them was like that. And I was doing the voices, and I was, that sweat, all of a sudden it's like, oh God, why do these sicknesses have to hit you right where you live? And I just came in, and everyone's been sick here. You have to find some demonic place in your throat to produce the same sound and simulate it, and it's real hard to do. But I went through the season, but like you said, tons of shots and inhalers, and I was on everything but a skateboard after that.
I was the first Hair Jordan commercial we did with Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes characters. I had laryngitis. And Porky had one line at the end of the commercial, which was, "That's my line." I couldn't do it. So they held auditions about 2 weeks later to find a new Porky Pig, because they thought I lost the ability to do it. So I auditioned again under an assumed name, and I booked it.
Thank you. Next questioner, please.
I was wondering if you guys have any favorite nameless characters. It's like there's just some guy, one line in one scene, and it just stands out in your mind for some reason.
When we were doing Astro Boy, it was an anime thing. I just oh, thank you. You're the person that actually saw it. I was doing Dr. O'Shea, and there was a bunch of other guys, and I had just seen Underworld, and I thought Kevin Green
had the greatest voice, and I said, Michael, you have to let me do this voice because I just saw this movie.
So there's a guy somewhere in there going,
oh look, it's Astro Boy.
That's my nod to the great Kevin Green.
Anybody else got a one-line character?
You know, I did this film called Spirited Away where I played No Face. And throughout most of the picture, he just walks around, and I just go, yeah, I did, so, I mean, and you too can do that, people.
Next question, please. Thank you.
My question's for Billy West. I was just kind of curious. You do one of the best Larry Fine from the Three Stooges impersonations I've ever heard. And out of curiosity, did you do any of the cartoon series?
Which ones?
Three Stooges.
Oh man, I ain't that old. I'm 55 years old, and I get the body of a 16-year-old in the trunk of my car. Larry Fine, I watched the Stooges. I was a total Stooge mental case. You know, it's like every morning before school in the late 1950s, I would sit there glued to this thing, and my mother would come in and say, "How can you stand those horrible men?" I said, "Ma, they're funny." She said, "They're not funny. They're just hurting each other." I said, "Well, so what? That's funny." You know, and I didn't grow up to burn down my own house. I mean, I was raised with violence, and you know, I never hammered someone's head in with anything. But Larry Fine was the peripheral one of the Stooges. To me, he was like the Keith Richard of the Stooges. You know, they wouldn't have been anything without him, really. And there'd be Moe doing his business, you know, and then Curly you always knew, and Moe would be hitting him, but you never was focusing on what Larry was doing. And he was just chewing up scenery. He'd be like, you know, and then the little that he said fractured me, like on a molecular level. You know, he'd go, "Hey Moe, I broke your Pesach dishes." "Why, you idiot? This is the meat, this is the dairy." "Hey, you missed one." "No, I didn't. Zochem."
Did anybody ever see Billy in full Larry Fine makeup on the Stern Show?
Yes!
That was amazing.
You know what? It was a good idea, but someone made me as fat as a house with pillows and everything, and I said, you know, I looked at it on TV, I said, it looks like somebody threw me up or something.
And the complete Three Stooges are coming out in sequence from Columbia DVDs very shortly. Yes?
Do you know if the Ted Healy ones that they did are coming out?
I think they're putting...
Panel will ask this, but Mr. West, last year there were rumors of Futurama direct-to-DVD movies, yes. And I was wondering if, since now they're bringing back the show to Comedy Central, are those movies still happening?
Yeah, I know we're doing one alongside the TV recording, but what happened is that I was in negotiations to do all these things that I jumped the gun and I announced it, and I got ass spanked by the powers that be. And so I had to go on and retract everything. I don't know anything. I'm a dummy. Good night. Brake, you know, gas on the right, brake on the left. Good luck and have fun. And then there was 58,000 hits on my website, you know, calling me a liar. And then Matt Groening comes by the booth yesterday. He goes, "By the way, you were right about that information." You know, I mean, in other words, I just jumped the gun. But yeah, we're going to start recording it next week. And
Last question.
I just got here, so I don't know if anybody's asked this before, but with doing all these voices all the time, doing all this great stuff, especially the people who are up to their elbows in work right now, do you ever forget what you actually sound like? Are you ever sitting around talking to people like, is that me? I'm not sure.
Oh, you have our own voice or just...
Or characters we've done.
Or just in general. I mean, I'm sure that you guys use a lot of inflection in your everyday speech, and so it's like, do you ever wonder, is that actually my voice?
Well, the engineers are really good at keeping, especially digitally now, keeping references of stuff you've done before. Because sometimes you'll do something and then they'll do pickups 3 months later. You're like, I don't remember doing that character.
So
And then
basically,
they'll
you can come in and use your own voice and then later listen to it for reference to make sure that you're still you.
Well, there is no real me because, as I always say, I used to have voices in my head, but then I got them all jobs. So even this is a character. It's just one that I feel the most comfortable in doing. So.
Let's see. Yeah, I just forget sometimes, but Fry sounds like a 25-year-old me. I mean, that's what I sounded like when I was, delivering stuff and working at the naval shipyard and pounding nails.
How many times do you have to pound this nail?
And then I was doing so many voices at the time, I was literally like talking to myself. I wasn't practicing, I was jonesing because I had OCD. I'd be talking in 3 characters, and I finally broke out of it. I says, maybe it's all for the better. You meet a better class of people that way.
Thank you so much.
We have to get out of here. Would you join me in thanking Mr. Wally Winger, ladies and gentlemen?